just going to go. Ciel, it's an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Hey.
It's just really lovely to meet you, and I'm really excited. You got a lot of engagement. And welcome to the group, the Independent Creators. And straight away, when I posted a video of one of your songs on the Thursday post, you got loads of engagement. People were really into it. Was it your most recent song? You have to remind me which one I posted now. Was it We Lost Everything that I posted? I think it was. I don't think it was actually.
Um, I think you posted a song from my first album. It's called I Found Love. That would be back from my first album, Unnatural Worlds. So yeah, I do have a new release coming out April 21st. I'm really excited about it. The song is called We Lost Everything, and I'm just really excited about it because the last time I released an album was back in 2018. And it's, to me, I mean, sure, I love the songs, but to me, like, it sounds like a first album, basically. And I feel like I have learned, and grown so much more as a musician since then. So that's all reflected in my second album. I spent a lot of time practicing my singing, and you know since I had the experience with recording in the first album and doing shows after that, um I'm becoming more familiar with the session musicians that I've been playing with. It's just like, all of that is like reflected in the second album. It's just like so much better. There's a lot of progress. I'm just really excited about it.
It is always really exciting when you go on to the next thing, and sometimes it can take a while actually to reflect, or just have a bit of a gap from a previous album to appreciate it for what it is, because it's certainly a common perception, I think, with artists, because presumably and hopefully we all like to feel that we've grown from album to album. It's just noticing you saying that, because actually it can take a few for you to reflect and then look. So don't worry about. Well, I'm not saying you worry, but we all feel like we've grown. But actually, sometimes when you play an album again after you've done a few, you kind of think, oh, actually, there was loads going on in that it has equal merit to all the others. But you don't necessarily feel like that. It's totally valid feeling when you're doing each new album, and absolutely, we do grow and we change. And so, what is it? In what ways do you feel that you've grown and changed, but between albums? What is it? How is that reflected in the songs? This one, for instance, or is this just a particular? Yeah.
Well, when I um when I recorded my first album, I had no plan to record any album. I wasn't doing anything musical. I was just working a normal job, and I had one song I wanted to record. So I found a producer, and I had like zero experience at this point. With like, I mean, I did music like a long time ago, but it was for a very brief period, and I didn't take it seriously. So I started again, like, I was like, yeah, I have this like one song, like, let me just try to record it. So
Was
I
that,
recorded.
was that one that you'd written, or was it the cover that we were chatting about?
I think it was the song you listened to, I Found Love. That was the first song that, like, I recorded. And I met a producer on a really cool website called soundsbetter.com, where you can just find, like, it's great for artists. If you want to find an engineer, session musicians, it's just great, a great source.
I'm
And
aware
it's
of it.
international. So I found this really cool producer. He looked a lot younger than me, and I was kind of afraid to call him up. It took me about 2 days to gather the courage to call him. And when I did, we just like really hit it off. He was so cool, and he recorded my song, and like we had so much fun that like I had so much fun. I just wanted to, record another song. And then it was like we ended up recording like another song, then three songs and four songs, and it just turned into like an album.
Absolutely, it turned into this album, right? Oh, that's self-control. No, that's the. Hang on a second. That's the cover, but let's just try that again.
But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it
that's
did come up. It did come
on
up. It's just
digital.
because it did actually come up, didn't it? It's just that I got a different one. So this is the album that your first one, right?
Absolutely. That's my very first album. My only album. It's my first and only album.
Wonderful. So, and this was I Found Love. A little bit.
Dreams of love could be about to come true. It makes no difference what you do. Got a hunch of mine, I would still be.
Yes, that sounds lovely. Let's go to the next one.
Tell me, do you love me like you used to?
Okay, just going to close that down because, yeah. So that was with, yeah, what was the name of the producer?
The name of my producer for that album is Raphael Sepulveda.
Uh-huh.
And
That's a great song. So that's as you said, you kind of took it song by song. And my question was, what are you noticing about the difference between recording that one and this one? Because this is your most recent single, We Lost Everything. And so you said, I mean, I know I was reflecting, so I was basically supporting the idea that our first albums actually often have like loads going on that we just were consumed thinking it's our first one, but anyway, in your second one, in what ways do you feel you've grown, and how's that reflected in the second album songs?
the main accomplishment for me is that I realized in the first album I wasn't really singing with I wasn't really connected to my emotions, and my singing was kind of like flat. And I started to practice more and more, and I started like emphasizing certain words and really just like pushing it out of me. And I started channeling into emotions where the inspirations for the songs came from. And I pretty much went to the studio, rehearsal studio, like every day by myself and just practiced singing. And I just loved it. It was great. And I picked up a lot of tips from vocalists on YouTube, various vocal coaches, and even celebrities, whatever they said in interviews and things like that. I just picked up like a lot of tips.
Which ones?
I would say, wow. I can't remember like which ones, but I picked up some interesting like tips, along. I can't remember which tip came from which.
That's okay. I was just curious. Sometimes people, I mean, absolutely. Sometimes it's so random. I can remember watching the Ellen DeGeneres show, and Celine Dion was on it, and she was doing this. She was doing a vocal exercise that I can't remember the exercise now. But I'd never seen it before, and I do different vocal exercises and thought, yeah, I'm going to bank that, because it's great, isn't it? When you just absorbing all the information like a sponge, really, when you are keen to learn and excited about learning. So you're saying that you really felt that you focus more on your singing for the second album, and there's more emotional connection in your view, although as I said, how people perceive a song and how you feel about a song, as I'm sure you're aware, can be two different things. The songs go out in the world, and then people attach their own thoughts and associations to them, right? So what's going on with We Lost Everything? Is that a love song, or is it maybe it's nothing to do with love?
Actually, We Lost Everything is a song about a relationship I had with someone who I really loved him, but I think I took him for granted at the time. I kind of cheated on him. So it was something that like he wasn't able, and like I feel really bad about it, but he wasn't able
That's
to.
honest. Appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, he wasn't able to overcome the pain. He wasn't able to get over it. And I just, so that's the line where I write, but you gave into the pain and we lost everything. So that's what I mean by that. And then I mentioned in the song about you should have waited for me. If only you would have waited for me, things would have been different today. So what I meant by that is that with time, all people make mistakes and we learn and we grow from them. So I wish that he would have just waited for me to like go through what I needed to go through, and
That's
things
so
would have been
honest of you. Ciel, and it is Ciel. I am pronouncing it right, right? I just want to double check.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
No, it's
but that's so honest because people write about people write about all sorts of things, but that is not an uncommon scenario, is it? That let's get real here. That people don't. We much as we love the idea of being totally honest, totally faithful in life, it doesn't always work out that way. And to write a song about with such honesty and integrity. Actually, to be saying about saying wanting someone to wait for them, I'm sure there's enough people that could relate to that. Let's see if we can play. Let's see if that's up on. I've got your. I have your. I've got.
so that song is going to be released April 21st, but I did put a preview on Facebook.
Oh, okay. All right. So you don't. Yeah, that's right. Because I was just wondering. All right. So let's get your Facebook page up then and see if we can listen just to a little bit.
Yeah, there's actually, it's my first post. It's pinned, so it's right at the top.
All right. Okay, so this is your Facebook page, Ciel Gloss, and this is it, right? Is this
No, it's not that one.
Okay, that's
It's not that
it.
one. No.
Let's turn that off. Ooh, doesn't want to turn off. Okay, so it says it's pinned at the. Here we go. Here it is.
Yeah.
Because it's right at the top, so I was kind of thinking, that's the one. Oh, why am I not hearing anything? Let's go back to the beginning. Okay, let's try this. It's got a great vibe to it. I mean, it's a painful song, but so many of the best songs are heartfelt, and they're not all about puppy dogs and roses, are they? Let's face it. Let's have a look. Let's stop the share. So yeah, so we lost everything, and so when did you say when's that out? So that's the preview of it, and it's out.
Yeah, so that song, that's the single to my album, and that will be coming out April 21st. We lost every first single. And then I've got like 2 more singles coming out after that. They're probably going to be separated by like 4 weeks apart, which is pretty much how things are done these days. Nobody wants to it's ridiculous.
So different, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it used to be, back in the day, it used to be like 3 singles and then the album, and now it's don't wait too long before you put the second single out.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a roller coaster ride. Great. So have you finished recording the whole album, or are you doing it as you go along?
We finished recording the whole album, and I recorded most of the vocal tracks, but then I had a listen and I was like, you know what, I can do better than that. So I went back to I decided to just take it because I was too ambitious the first time. I recorded a lot of songs in one session. And then I realized I just want to devote one session to a song and just take my time, recording it, comping it to my liking, etc. So that's my pace. I'm not exactly I'm not a great singer like you, for example. So
it sounds damn good to me, Ciel. I mean, you've mentioned that a few times, and it's really I hope and I'm sure, and but from what I can hear, you appreciate, and it's really about doing your own thing, isn't it? As an artist, we really want to get to that space where we're doing our own thing, and we're representing ourselves, and we're making the music that we feel is representative of where we're at now. And is that hopefully that's how this feels. And as you've said, you recommitted to this album and you went back to it and spent more time on
Vocals.
expecting less songs. Is that right?
Yeah, I wanted to go back. Totally love the music. Music is all done. And I love the music too because I'm so much a part of it. You know, I get some songs like I helped with writing songs. Like on my first album, there was more songs that I wrote, but on this album, my guitarist, he's the one who wrote like the musical, you know, parts, and then we just sat down and we did these like little creative bits. Like I was like, you know, I just like helped with like the arrangement. Like I was like, let's create an intro. Let's let it be like this. Let's delete bars, you know, during the chorus or add bars. And like, let's put cute little samples in like sirens, you know, whatever. So I just love that part because we can just get like so, you know, creative, especially with today's technology. So I just, you know, it's a really fun creative process writing songs.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's amazing what you said at the beginning of this interview, that you were doing something completely different and then you just had it in you, but you'd always been interested in music, but then you just had it in you to do one song. So what was the change? What were you doing music when you were a child?
No, no. When I was younger, I was doing music back in like the late 90s, and it was for like I was just learning then, like just learning how to play guitar and everything. But you know, I had like bands and I would do shows and they were my songs, I wrote them. And I did get signed by like a little independent label out west, called Vagrant Records. So we started to record like the album, and for some reason, and this is like, I don't know why, because now that I'm older, I realize like this was not a good move on my part. I just went through this like tremendous phase of self-doubt, and it was just like this cloud, just dark cloud, just like came over me, and I suddenly started doubting myself, and it really like it cripples me in a way, it paralyzed me. So I sort of just ran away, you know, in the middle of the recording, and I, you
Oh,
know, intended to get back to it, but I never did. And then I just ended up like I I actually went far away. I went to England and I just spent some time there, and you know, and like the longer I stayed there, you know, it was just I felt so good getting away from America. I just wanted to like run away from America and never go back and just stay there, you know. So but you know, many years later I realized, or decades later, I realized that, you know, it's something that like I really missed it, and I got back into it. That's when I was like, well, let me just try one song, you know, and see how it goes. And
that's
then,
such a great
you
approach,
know,
isn't it? When, especially when you are returning to something like a long lost friend, just take the pressure off yourself and say, what's the entry level? Let's just try something out. And there's a great freedom, isn't there, in doing something when you've done it, like when you did it a while ago and then you return to it and it feels like you feel like you can do it in your own way now. That's
yeah,
what I'm getting from you, and I identify with that actually because I was in bands and doing different things years ago, and then got into being a session musician, which I don't regret, and at all, but it's relatively recently that I started doing albums again. So where are you at now? So you've got these like 3 or 4 tracks, and no, you said you've recorded the album, and how are you going to represent it? Because I can hear that it's I mean the production is pretty polished, and but you also said you have a guitarist. So what is the live lineup like, and how does it differ from last time, or does it not?
I would say how it differs. Okay, well, yeah, all right. I would say how it differs is that it's different now because, you know, I when I write now, I've learned also something really important about writing songs in general. If you don't love you have to be in love with the song that you're going to record, you know. Because on my first album, I liked my songs, and some of them I might have even like loved them, but these songs, I'm in love with these songs. So what I learned is that there's no point in recording a song if you are not in love with it. I mean, as a musician, as a singer, a songwriter, you have to be in love with the song that you're about to record and put out. And another thing that I learned that's really important is I'm actually glad when I was younger and all that, I'm actually glad that I started music later again in life because I actually have things to write about now. I have the experience of life. I don't know how younger people do it. They just start writing songs, but it's like I
Especially
can
when they write like these amazing songs as well. And think, have you experienced that yet? I can remember my friend talking about, oh gosh, what's her name? You know the woman that wrote "This Girl Is on Fire." Who's that lady that wrote that? Oh, well, whoever
I
that.
don't know.
Oh, she's a great writer anyway. But anyway, it'll come to me probably after we finish this interview. But she basically, it was on her debut album, and I think she was about 19, or I don't know, she was really young. It wasn't This Girl Was on Fire. It was another. It was about, oh, I know, it was about a woman. It's about a woman's world, and she was writing as a really mature woman, and she was like in her teens. And think you haven't lived yet, but it's a great sign of a great songwriter actually, because you do get brilliant songwriters at any age. And so you brought you brought your experiences, and you're saying that you feel that your experiences from the last album, also basically being older, has really helped you. So what is your what are the songs? Are these all kind of personal relationship songs? What have we got to look forward to with these other ones, or do you not really want to talk about them yet?
Sure, no, I would love to talk about them. I mean, that's why I'm putting them out.
I know,
So
it's just I
another
know you
one,
haven't released them yet.
sorry, say again.
It's because I know you haven't released them yet, so I'm just checking.
Oh no, it's I mean another important thing I learned about the songs on this album is that I don't want to, I'm not just writing for myself. I think of people now when I write. I think of everyone out there, and I want to give them a song that they can relate to, that a song that can comfort them or even make them happy. So now I think about people a lot when I write music. I'm like, I really want this song to like help people. Maybe they're going through something private and personal, they can't talk about it with a friend, and they've got my song to be there for
Oh,
them.
that's amazing. So do you have a few songs like that on this album?
Yeah, on the new album that's coming out, there's quite a lot of songs where I've thought about, and again, it's not just about like younger people, because I feel like younger people haven't really lived, but when you get older, you start going through everything. You go through careers, you go through serious relationships, serious life changes, all sorts of things happen. So a lot of people make decisions that just affect the course of their whole lives. So yeah, these songs really reflect more on that. I just really get into like all little bits. It's not just like a love song album. I have it's a pretty diverse album lyrically, and I like it to be that way. I like it, but the one thing I did want to keep the same is the music. I wanted it to have an 80s vibe. I grew up like watching MTV, so I totally love 80s music. um and I wanted it to sound like a little bit punk, but like also like new wave, so
You've
like the
nailed
whole
that, right? You've got that you've got that combination down.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I love that sound in particular. And when I was younger, I always thought it was really cool, but I I didn't know how to like, do anything like that musically. So yeah, I'm so glad that
So
like I
who
mean my
did you
music.
like? It's yeah, you say that, and so who are the people that have kind of, when you reminisce about those, what are the influences that have inspired you for this album, and generally, if you saying that's a running theme from album to album?
You mean like in the 80s? Like what
Yeah,
80s?
who are the influences that have, because it's got it, there's a current pop vibe about it as well, that, but you're saying that you get that punk and that 80s vibe going on, and I'm getting that, but I get a current vibe as well. I get
Oh
a current
yeah.
energy. But anyway, yeah, who are the people that you have been inspired and influenced by, that's coming through in these songs?
Back in the 80s growing up, I was just like glued to like MTV, and it could be a nice sunny day outside and I would just be sitting on the floor just like glued to the television watching all those cool music videos. And on the radio, it was just like one hit song, after the other. So I liked all the bands. I went out and I bought like 45s and albums, Tower Records when it used to be there. I just went out and I bought like every hit song that was out. But I mean, there's so many. There's even people that I listened to that I don't even sound anything like Don Henley and the Eagles. I think I know like every word to every Eagles song, but my music is nothing like them. I liked all sorts. Oh gosh, I liked bands like Thompson Twins and Ultravox and like I can't really say like Cyndi Lauper and Madonna. Like I never really got into them. And Blondie was awesome, but I didn't start listening to her until like later in life. I used to really like that band, Aha. And I know
Aha.
They were very, Aha from Norway.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I love that you said that the first thing you said was MTV, because there's a real lovely vibe coming through in the way that you're representing your songs that embraces that the genre that is MTV. That is a kind of a genre of its own, even though it had loads of diverse different different artists on, but they were, it kind of blew up it was in the 80s, wasn't it? So it just kind of, there was a real excitement.
Cool. It was like, I don't know, you look a lot younger, but wasn't it like really cool in the 80s, MTV? And that was just like amazing.
It was so much fun, because before that there wasn't MTV, and so it was just like it was this new world of videos that we could all enjoy and just really kind of just have access to the visual side of music in a way, and visual side of artists in a way, and artists could as well. They could really explore I know now it's everywhere and saturated, and people use video like they use exactly like they use music. But it was novel really in the 80s. I can remember it was still novel. MTV was a massive thing, and I love that kind of that just kind of does run through your music, even though you said it's not like, and there is a pop sensibility about what I've heard of your music as well though. But I love that you've combined that with like a punkishness and a playfulness as well. And I look forward to listening to more of it. I wonder if we should let's listen to your cover if you want to. Do you want to, or you did that a little while ago, but you did mention it because you said it did pretty good on is this it?
Yeah.
It did.
Self-control. No, that's not it. It's self-control. Oh, that's my website.
Is it this, the YouTube?
Oh no, that song is from my first album. That's my website.
Let's try again. So what about this? Yeah.
Yes, that's my cover version to
Right,
the
so listen to this then. About the 80s thing.
Overnight is my world. City lights, painted girls. In the day, nothing matters. It's the night, time that flatters. In the night, no control. Through the walls.
Just listen to it. A really small amount of it, because you'll have to go, everyone that's interested in, I'm buzzing, I want to listen to all of your songs now. It's really well, was that produced by the same person?
Yeah, he really loves electronic music, so he's a lot younger, so these 80s songs, he doesn't know these really cool 80s songs, but he wanted to do like a modern electronic version of it, and my voice can be kind of ethereal, so it worked out really good. Like we did this like dreamy version. He did all the music. He's just really talented.
Yeah. You've really got your style. I mean, the sense of style, and the fact that you're really going with this, as you said, this kind of 80s infused pop and punk kind of thing. So on the punkier edge, where would you say you were at? Like if you had some punky influences, who would you mention?
There's not really a lot of punk bands today, but I
Right,
used to
right.
like bands like Angelic Upstarts or even Babes in Toyland were a little bit more, more recent, more later. But I also like bands you would never think. Rage Against the Machine, they are one of my top 5 bands. And on the second album, I actually have a couple of songs where I'm screaming too, like Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine. So there's also that side, but also like on the second album, because I'm a New Yorker and from New York, I wanted to incorporate a lot of like New York, vibe and attitude, because I feel like a lot of tourists when they come here, and also people who have never been here, they just have this idea about New York that's not quite right. So I wanted to I wanted to show them what it's really like,
Okay, so
here.
how have you done? What have you done that with the lyrics, or have you done that with the visuals, or have you done that with the what have you done? How have you done that?
How have I done that? I think I tried with certain songs. Like the next single that's coming out is called High Alert, and it's actually the name of the album, High Alert. And in that song, the New York vibe is like, it's more like in my, I would say more like in my singing. I'm not really singing. I'm actually kind of like whining and shouting at the same time. But you would have to like, and I have this really cool ad lib going on where I'm just like, yeah, yeah. um,
It's the attitude. Are you saying it's the attitude that you brought to it, and it's called what? High Alert, and the album's called High Alert.
yeah. The album is called High Alert. Yeah, and it's basically like what it's about is about like in New York City, there's a lot of, and I'm sure this is the same all around, the world, but in New York City, there's a lot of competition there. People compete, within in the working fields. People compete as artists in relationships. There's just like a lot of competition going on, and there are a lot of missed opportunities. If you don't grab it in time, somebody else will, and maybe they don't even deserve it or as much as you do, but they got it. So now, like, my whole attitude is like, I'm on high alert.
That's perfect, and I love that energy. There's a great energy in these songs, and in this visual of this, we've lost everything. And just really looking forward to hearing more of your music, and specifically in this album. So we can expect that like one song every 4 weeks. And did you say this is coming out? We Lost Everything is coming out when?
April 21st. I'm so
April
excited.
21st, everybody listening to
Yeah.
this. And I'll get it together to get it up on my, to do a little mini clip from this as well. And it will go on the YouTube and I'll send it to you. I'm really, really excited for you and really look forward to hearing more of your music. And it sounds inspirational to me. I love the fact that you've gone out there and then you've got your first album done, and then you've learned from that. You've got that. You said yeah, I mean, the first album sounds great, what I did hear of it. And then the second album, did you say it's like you're using different producers, or you're working with your guitarist, right? So how you're working with the guitarist?
I have. So with the second album is interesting because when I met my producer, he had he followed someone on Instagram that he didn't know. You know how we follow people we've never met,
Yeah,
so
everybody's
he
doing
followed,
it.
and I had happened to find him as a guitarist. I found him on Craigslist, and so my producer was like, "Oh, hey, I know that guy. We follow each other." And it turns out that my guitarist has always liked my producer, but they never met. But they both play like really hard rock guitar, and like, that's what they have in common. They always see each other's posts. So I said, like, for a second album, I was like, I have a great idea. Why don't we all kind of collaborate? So we all, like, me and the guitarist and the producer, the same producer for my first album, we all like collaborated and we came up with this. So I'm just like, I'm
That's
really
how it's
excited.
working. And have
Yeah.
you thought about how you're going to represent it live yet, or is it early days?
Live. So towards the end of the year, I am supposed to be in a festival, and I am, by then the album should be out like around September, but September of this year. But there will be about 4 3 or 4. I would like to do 4, but there's gonna be about like 4 singles that come out before. So I also have 2 videos coming out.
Brilliant.
One of them's gonna be the video to "We Lost Everything" and the video to "High Alert."
Fantastic. Really look forward. And well, we could chat about that, but no, people are going to just keep that element of surprise. You're going to get everyone that's watching this, you're going to have to go and find the video for We Lost Everything, which presumably will come out at a similar time.
Around June or July.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we look forward to that, and we won't do any spoilers. We can update, and we just we'll have to more of an incentive to go watch it. So thank you so much, Ciel. I'm really excited for your music. I think your music sounds fab. It's really interesting and really intriguing, and it's just got a really like a vibey energy about it. It's fabulous. So I wish you all the very best with it, and I look forward to seeing what transpires on the live side, and just keep it all going on, because you got it all going on. So it's brilliant. Thanks for taking the time today, Ciel. And we'll look out for what you're doing, and I'll post this up straight away.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so
much. All
much.
right. All the best. Bye.
Ciao.